If someone walked past you on a busy street, looking confused, talking to themselves, dressed like a wanderer, you probably wouldn't give them a second glance. But what if that appearance was actually a disguise? That unsettling question is at the center of a story that has been circulating across Nigerian social conversations, raising both curiosity and concern. According to multiple local accounts and online discussions, security operatives in parts of Kwara State reported they arrested a man who was allegedly pretending to be mentally unstable. Early reports suggest the individual may have been using the appearance of a harmless street wanderer or beggar as a cover. While official confirmations remain limited at the time of this recording, the story has sparked widespread debate about security awareness, public safety, public set, and how easily people can be misled by appearances. And before we go deeper into this discussion, take a quick second to support the channel. If you find these updates helpful and you want more clear, balanced explanations of stories that matter, remember to like this video, share it with others, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Your engagement genuinely helps the channel grow and keeps these conversations going. Now let's calmly unpack what is being said and why this story has captured attention. Reports indicate that the suspect was allegedly attempting to blend into everyday public life by acting like a mentally unstable person. This is not entirely new as a concept. Disguises and deceptive tactics have been used in different parts of the world for decades. What makes this particular claim striking for many Nigerians is the suggestion that someone could move around unnoticed simply by appearing vulnerable or harmless. According to the circulating accounts, intelligence sources believe the disguise may have been deliberate, possibly intended to avoid suspicion or scrutiny. Again, it is important to stress that much of the information currently available comes from local discussions and unverified reports rather than detailed official statements. That distinction matters because stories involving security and arrest often evolve as authorities release more accurate details. Still, the situation highlights a broader issue that is very real. Criminals sometimes rely on psychology rather than force. In everyday life, most people naturally lower their guard around individuals who seem mentally unwell, elderly, distressed, or in need. Society tends to view such individuals with sympathy rather than suspicion. That human instinct is compassionate, but it can also be exploited. In Nigeria, it is common to see people wandering streets, highways, and markets who appear mentally unstable. Many are genuinely struggling with mental health conditions, homelessness, or economic hardship. So when a story emerges suggesting that someone might intentionally adopt that appearance as a tactic, it triggers understandable anxiety. People begin to wonder, how do you distinguish between genuine vulnerability and possible deception? This is where the conversation becomes delicate and requires balance. It is extremely important not to stigmatize or cast suspicion on people who are truly dealing with mental health challenges. The overwhelming majority of such individuals pose no threat to anyone. Jumping to conclusions or reacting with fear toward every wandering or distressed person would be both unfair and harmful. However, the story does serve as a reminder of situational awareness. Security experts often emphasize that awareness is not about paranoia. It is about being attentive to unusual patterns or behaviors without making harsh assumptions. For example, someone persistently observing a location, repeatedly approaching sensitive areas, or acting inconsistently over time might draw attention from trained professionals. Another part of the discussion revolves around what some reports describe as a beggar tactic. The idea here is that appearing needy or disoriented can make a person seem invisible in crowded environments. People may ignore them, avoid eye contact, or assume they are harmless. In theory, this could allow an individual to gather information, monitor movements, or move between areas without raising alarm. Whether or not the specific claims in this Kwara-related story are fully accurate, the concept itself is not unrealistic. Around the world, law enforcement agencies have documented cases where suspects use disguises ranging from delivery workers to street vendors to avoid detection. Deception is often quieter and less noticeable than people expect. For many viewers, the bigger question is not just about one arrest, but about what this means for everyday Nigerians. Should people be worried? Has anything fundamentally changed? The honest answer is that personal safety has always depended on a mix of community vigilance, effective policing, and individual awareness. No single story suddenly transforms the entire security landscape. It is also worth remembering that security agencies routinely monitor threats and investigate suspicious activities that never become public headlines. Arrests, intelligence operations, and preventive actions occur regularly, even when they are not widely reported. So while a viral story can feel dramatic, it may represent just one small piece of a much larger ongoing effort. Another interesting aspect is how quickly such stories spread. In today's media environment, information travels at incredible speed through social platforms, messaging apps, and online forums. A single claim, image, or short video can shape public perception within hours. Sometimes the core event is real, but the details become exaggerated or distorted as the story moves from person to person. That is why cautious language is important. Phrases like reports indicate, according to local accounts, or details remain unclear are not attempts to weaken a story. They are part of responsible communication. Jumping to definitive conclusions without verified evidence can unintentionally mislead audiences or create unnecessary fear. Beyond the arrest itself, this story touches on something deeply human, the way we judge based on appearances. In busy environments, our brains make rapid assumptions. We categorize people instantly: harmless, threatening, trustworthy, irrelevant, often without conscious thought. Most of the time, these shortcuts work well enough. Occasionally, they can be wrong. So what practical lessons can viewers take from this conversation without sliding into panic or suspicion? One reasonable takeaway is attentiveness to environment rather than fixation on individuals. Being aware of surroundings, exits, unusual movements, or inconsistencies is generally more useful than trying to guess people's intentions based purely on how they look. Another takeaway is the value of credible information sources. When a story emerges, it helps to look for confirmations from recognized authorities or established news outlets rather than relying solely on forwarded messages or dramatic captions. False or incomplete information can spread easily, especially when a story involves fear or shock.